Okay, so today, this is the last time I want to talk about this. Today, I want to solve a little bit higher level questions for the people who are interested to get A or B in the exam. Okay? I hope that everyone listens, but if you think your goal is not to get a B or an A, then instead of listening to me, silently start working on your book. Okay? So these questions that I solve here are only for the students who are aiming to get B or A. So it means it is important for the quiz coming on Friday. Okay? And for the people who want to get finally a B or A in this course. But if that is not your goal, might be that wouldn't be a good option for you. Don't waste your time. Open your book and read those pages on Google Classroom and do all the exercises. Yes? So we split into two parts. The people who wants to listen to me, if you look at me, I know who are listening to me, so I can talk to them. If you don't look at me, it means that you are working. But you can also not work and cheat, okay? That's up to you, your life. Okay? Open your books. There are a few pages if you don't want to listen to it. Okay. So this question was from the last one. I want to solve it for you and then start new questions. We were supposed to simplify this expression. Thank you. So because you had enough time to think about it, if you don't mind, let me start solving them. And then we split to two groups. The people who are interested in getting A and B, listen to me, otherwise work on your own book. And everything is written on Google Classroom, so you can check which pages and which things to study. Okay, so if you remember, we want to simplify this. It's a fraction. If I want to simplify this, the algorithm is a step-by-step factorizing. But you might say that this is already factorized. I agree with you, because that's a product. It's also factorized. But in this form, you see nothing can be simplified, because these factors are not in common, yes? I'm not sure if we can simplify. Are you sure that this was what I wrote?
Yes.
Okay, so that was probably a little bit stupid from my side. Okay, so if if I made problems for you, I have to apologize. I meant this in the numerator, because in this form nothing can be simplified. Okay, so if you don't mind, let me interchange these two. So 2x. So this is a to the third. B. Sorry for the confusion if it's caused by me. So this was 2x minus 3a. This is the correct one. I meant this one might be. I was distracted. Okay, that is what I mean. The previous one you couldn't simplify at all. It's better keep it like that. But this one you can simplify. But it's still not in this form. Because even though it's a product, but nothing is in common, so you can simplify. But it is not fully factorized. So you can fully factorize it by writing what? Can I factorize this part more? Yes, hopefully by now you are very good in detecting the pattern of conjugate rule. So these are two complete squares subtracted. So this is the conjugate rule. So immediately you open two pairs of brackets, one with plus, one with minus. It doesn't matter which one is which. And then you ask yourself, what is that expression whose second power is 4x squared? It's simply 2x. So you put a 2x here and a 2x there, and then you ask the same question here. What is that expression whose second power is 9a squared? That is 3a. So it's 1 3a here, 1 3a there. So this is the factor, this blue one is the factorization of that one. But how can I factorize this? There is no pattern there. But this is a Math 1C lesson. Yes? I can see a to the power of 3 is in common, so I can pull it out. So this one was Math 2 lesson, but this one is Math 1 C lesson, so I factor a to the power of 3 out. From here, b is left, and from here, minus a is left. Okay, and then what can I do in the denominator? This one still can be factorized a little bit more using Math 1c. I have a here, I pull it out. So this becomes b minus a. And then this cannot be factorized anymore. I just copy and paste this. And then immediately you see that many things can be simplified now. Because if I ask you how many factors you see in the numerator, this is one factor, this is the second factor, this is the third one, and this is the fourth one. And here I also have 3 factors. So what I can do, I can say this factor is exactly the same as this factor. When I simplify, what is left? 1. You don't have to write 1, but you need to understand 1 is left. And this b minus a and this b minus a is also gone. So 1 is left here, 1 is left there. One of these a's, because here I have a times a times a, so I have 3 a's. One of them is in common, so I take it off. But from here, what is left? A to the power of 2 is left. Now look what is left for me. This one, this one, this one, this one. Multiply them. I don't need to be worried about the ones, so this one multiplied by that one. So this becomes 2x plus 3a times a squared, and then 1 times 1 times 1 is simply 1. But you shouldn't write 1 and leave it, because you have to simplify. It is not necessary at all to write 1 there. And I told you, if after simplification, I prefer to multiply back, but that's optional. So I multiply it back. If you just write that, that's also okay. So this becomes 2xa squared plus 3a cubed. And this is exactly the answer that you were supposed to write. So you see that this expression so big can be simplified to this very simple expression. Any questions? Okay, so let me change the battery and then I will continue. Now, this was from the last lesson. I will start a little bit harder questions for A level and B level. Yes? Be creative as well. So example, the calculator is not allowed for this question. So what is the exact value of this expression? The square root of 5 minus 2 to power 10 times the square root of 5 plus 2 to power 8 in its simplest possible form. Okay, so I want to wait for you. Let me give you a little bit of hint. This one that I write is E-level question. So if I ask you what is the exact value of this, everyone should be able to answer this. So you might expect an E-level question like this in the exam. I ask you the same thing. What is the exact value of this? And the calculator is not allowed. This is extremely simple. Yes? What's the answer? Everyone should recognize the pattern. What pattern is that? The conjugate rule. So the answer becomes what? The first one squared minus the second one squared. But everyone should know at this level that square root of 5 to power 2 is 5. And then minus 4. So the answer becomes 1. So every hard question starts with a simple idea. Okay? Of course, this is harder question because I have different powers. Okay, let me ask you another question. If I want to make this question this is E-level question. If I want to make it one step hard, what do? I put the same powers, not different powers. Yes, for example, I can ask you this question. Let me write 10. And then I would write square root of 5 plus 2 to power 10 again. This is E-level question. This I will consider C-level question. Yes? Why? How do you do this one now? For this one, you need to remind yourself about something from Math 1C. What is that rule? Can you see the connection between this and this rule that you learned in Math 1C? So this is the important thing. So what makes math hard is because you are looking for exactly the same thing in the formula sheet, but you need to know this formula is this one. Why? Because this formula has a message behind it. That's what I'm saying. Just don't memorize them. Don't say a to n, b to n is this one. This tells you that if you want to multiply two powers with the same exponent, you write the exponent and you multiply the bases. This is the message behind this formula. So this is immediately applicable here because I have two powers. One is this one. It's a power. It's complicated, but it's a power. And this is also a power. And then I am lucky because the exponents are the same. So this means that immediately this rule is applicable if you can read the message of the formula. If you just, of course, this formula, how it looks like, if you show this to a kid, they say that they are quite different. But from the math point of view, they are the same rule. So what I do here, according to this rule, I have to put the same exponent, but then I have to multiply these two numbers, which are playing the role of bases here, yes? And then, if I ask you, what is this one? You see, this part of it was an extra effort. So this part is E question. So what's the answer to this? We already did that, is 1. So then it becomes 1 to power 10. And 1 to power 10 is what? 1. So you see, the person who designed this question as an A-level question, he had this E-level question in mind, make it a little bit more complicated, C-level question, and make it a little bit more complicated here, A-level question. But then I want to stop again, because you have to learn the process. Of course, if I solve it, you understand, but you have to have a little bit of creativity if you want to achieve B or A in math exams. Okay? So I want to wait for you. So now you have some idea what to do. The only problem that now you need to think how can I solve is that why the powers are different. One of them is 10, one of them is 8. But then it is not very hard. I want you to learn how to think. Yes?
Can you come? I don't know how to say this.
Let me see. Yes.
You see, with the 10 power to the 10, is this acceptable? Because I have two. I don't know if you know what I mean.
No, I know what you mean. Your idea is correct, but the way that you have written is it wrong. Your idea is correct. Yes, that's the idea. So what you are saying is that you split 10 to 8 and 2.
Yes.
That's correct. But I don't know why did you write like that. So what he is saying is that what we can do, everyone should be able to do that after these explanations. So what you think the question mark is equal to? I see that this is 10 and this is 8. This is not exactly this problem because the powers were the same. So what do you think I will do? I will actually break the 10 into two parts, 1 8, 1 2. And this is possible, yes? For example, instead of this one, I can write a square root of 5 minus 2 to power 2. And then I can write the square root of 5 minus 2 to power 8. If I ask you, do you agree with me that what I have written here is the same expression? Yes. Which rule is that in Math 1? A to the power of n times a to power m is equal to a to power n plus m. So if I ask you what this is, you will tell me because the bases are the same, I write the base and then I add the exponents. When I add the exponents, I get the same thing. So I was able to split it into these parts. But you might say, well, like, why did you choose 2 and 8? Why didn't you choose 3 and 7? Why didn't you choose, I don't know, 4 and 6? The answer becomes clear, yes? Why? Because I have some experience from here that the bases or the exponents are the same, so I want to make this one the same as that one so that I can use the same idea. Yes? So what I do, this one I wrote for the first part, and then I copy and paste the second part. Yes? But I hope that you can solve this problem. This is now A-level question. After I expose all these things to you. Yes? What you can do, this part is that problem, but instead of 10, what I have here, 8. So I would write it as this, square root of 5. In the exam, you have to write something like this. Square root of 5 plus 2, and then to power 8. This is for that part. But this one is also a squaring rule. What is the squaring rule? It becomes the first one squared, 2 times the first one times the second one. That is the negative version of a squaring rule. So it becomes 2 times square root of 5 times 2 plus the second one squared. So this problem involves both rules in one problem. Yes? So what we can do, we can continue. So I am just writing what you write in the exam. What is this number? 5. And 2, square root of 5, 2. If I multiply them, it becomes 4 times the square root of 5. And 2 to power 2 is what? 4. But then this is exactly the same rule. So it becomes the square root of 5 to power 2 minus 2 to power 2. This is why I am assuming that I didn't talk about that. This is given in the exam, you have to write it in that way. And then I have a power of 8 up there. So then what happens? 5 and 4 becomes 9 minus 4 square root of 5. This becomes 5 minus 4 to the power of 8. This cannot be simplified anymore, so don't worry, you just copy and paste. And then 5 minus 4, everyone knows it is 1, and then to power 8. But 1 to power 8 doesn't need any calculator, so it becomes 1. So the final answer that I expect you to write to collect all the points is 9 minus 4 square root of 5. So I consider these A-level questions because the people who understand and solve this problem in that way, it means that they understand, their understanding is in a higher level. But you need practice, okay? So you see, I told you that the idea starts with E-level question, and then make them the same E-level, C-level question, and make them different A-level questions. The math is hard because they can combine a lot of ideas in one problem. So this problem also needed 2 rules from Math 1C. So that is why sometimes the students feel math is hard, because mainly they forget and they don't practice enough to immediately see the patterns and things like that. Yes? 4 square 5? No, this is 9 minus 4 square root of 5. But we cannot continue more. Because even if a calculator is available, if you put the square root of 5 there, it gives you a lot of decimal points. In this problem, I want exact value. So exact value means just keep it like this. That's the end of the problem. Yes? Okay, so another exercise. Okay, so I will write something similar, but now you have a little bit of experience. So then, this is the next example. So, I would say let A be square root of 3 plus square root of 8, and B be equal to square root of 3 minus square root of 8. Determine the exact values of a squared plus b squared and a times b. Yes? Loud. So I have given you a little bit weird numbers. But don't think, but one thing that guides you is that don't think the problem is extremely hard. You need to find a pattern instead of immediately writing something. I've given you two numbers. I am asking you about what happens if I square this one and add them. What happens if I multiply? Yeah, so I will write more. If you haven't reached to that answer, don't give up, okay? Just try to understand. Actually, in, I don't know, 2 minutes, something like that. So it is very simple. You just need to realize the pattern. Let us try to teach you how to think logically. If I ask you to calculate this, to be honest, if I give you A to be 1, again, you see, the person who designed this question, A-level question, that person started from this idea, for example. If I gave you A is 1, B is 2, do you have problems in calculating this? If yes, it means that you have to start working on book because this is E-level question. What's the answer? 5. So what is the main problem there? The main problem that makes this A-level question is because the numbers are not so simple. But still they are numbers. Yes? So what you have done, when you wanted to solve this, how did you answer to me quickly 5? You told me that problem, you thought in this way that A is 1, B is 2. And then you ask yourself, 1 to power 2 is 1, 2 to power 2 is 4, and then you just... So my question is that why you could solve this problem in this way, but when the problem becomes harder, you change your strategy. This is a bad thing. So you have to follow the same strategy. Because the numbers are more difficult, why you get confused? The same procedure should work. So let us at least, this one is extremely simple. I would say this is a Math 1C less, this part is Math 2C. This part is Math 1C. How? If I want to answer that question, how should I solve that? I will follow exactly the same rule. I would say that A squared plus B squared is equal. In the previous case, I replaced A with what was given, B with what was given. I have to do the same thing here, but the problem is that A is a little bit more complicated, but you have to write it. A is this weird number, so it is 3 plus square root of 5, and then what do I have? To the power of?
Baba.
Yes.
It's not 5.
8, yes, it's 8. Thank you. And then plus, B is that number, so I write it, and then I have to power 2. At least you should be able to write it in this way.
Yes.
If you haven't written it and you haven't found the answer, that is the weakness of you. You have to fix it. Up to here, I would say it is very natural and it should come in a matter of 1 or 2 seconds. Okay? The rest of it you might challenge a little bit. So face some challenge. So this is not a challenge because what is this number? 3 plus the square root of 8. How many of you don't know that? If I give you a square of something, regardless of what that thing is, and I square it, what do I get? I get my box back. Yes, so that's the same idea. So when I square it, what happens? This power 2 kills this square root sign, but it cannot affect this square root sign because this is playing the role of the box now. Yes? So the answer becomes just what? 3 plus square root of 8 and plus the same story here. What is that? So it was a Math 1C problem. And then you cancel this one. I don't need to know what the square root of 8 is because whatever this one is, this is the same with negative sign. They are gone. And 3 plus 3 is 6. Okay, so that was a Math 1C problem. Okay, but the same story. You have now experienced, you want to multiply them this time. Don't hesitate to write it. When I want to multiply them, what do I do? Instead of A, I put that expression. Yes? And then multiplication. and then that number, b. At least this is good to write it in your paper, even if you cannot solve it. It means that you understand the first step. Okay, now this is a Math 2C problem, but you need to remember something from Math 1C. What is that thing? We have some rules for multiplying square roots. If I have a square root of something, whatever it is, I don't care, multiply it by square root of something else. Do you remember what we had in Math 1C? I can write one square root and then multiply the box by the circle. Okay? I told you for multiplication this is correct, but for addition this is not correct if I put addition there. Okay, so now give the roll of box to this and give the roll of circle to this. Mathematics is all just considering patterns. Okay? So according to that rule from Math 1C, I have a square root of a box, a square root of a circle, so what can I do? I can write one square root and then multiply box by circle. But this is my box and this is my circle. Yes? But now don't let this distract you, because this comes later. You have to calculate this and then take a square root. But calculating this is a pattern that you learned in our lesson during these two lessons. So what is this pattern? Conjugate pattern. So again, don't be in a hurry. If you want to use conjugate pattern, you are using conjugate pattern for this part. So it means that the square root sign should be there. This big square root sign, I put it there. And I ask myself, okay, what is the answer to this bit? And then you say that this is the first one squared minus the second one squared. But I am not allowed to start doing this, because when I want to do this, I need to know this number. So I have to calculate this one first. You don't need the teacher to tell you that. So you copy and paste the third sign. This is called the third sign. Yes? And then 3 to power 2, 9. Minus the square root of 8 to power 2, 8. But 9 minus 8, I copy and paste the third sign. 9 minus 8 is 1. But everyone hopefully knows the square root of 1 is 1. That's it. I would call them, in American system you have A plus, A minus. So I will consider this A minus. Okay? But probably this is A and this is A plus. Okay, if I want to arrange them, but in Swedish system, I will give them under the title of A. So I want to wait for you. So you need to trust yourself, and first of all, you have to enjoy. If you really don't like it, there is no way that I can motivate you. But if you see that you have a little bit of feeling for it, then it means that you can practice and then become much better in problem solving. Yes? Yes, please. Yes, of course. Any questions? So, this was our A minus question in American system. A question, A plus question. I didn't record that. Anyway. So that was one method. The second method is factorization. I start with the same question mark. Now, can you factorize it? Because you usually, when I talked about factorization, you might think that what is the application of factorization? So this is useful here. Even though this problem, I am sure that if I ask you to factorize it, you could factorize it.
Yes.
Yes, but when I asked the question in a convoluted way, you didn't realize factorization might be useful. And that is the only difference between C-level questions and A-level questions. Yes? In C-level questions, I ask you to do the task directly, a little bit harder than E-level questions. But in A-level questions, you need to find a connection as well. Okay? So, can you factorize this for me now? What is the first step? Then you need to remember what I told you. You should be a good listener to your teacher. Is Math 1C method applicable here?
Yes.
Yes, I can factor a 5 out. So it becomes 5. What is left? A squared minus 4ab plus 4b squared. This is complete for Math 1C students, but because now you are Math 2C, you know more methods. Can I continue?
Yes.
How?
Conjugate.
No, it's not conjugate. There's 3 terms. 3 terms is not conjugate. The squaring. So I copy and paste 5, and then I put a 2 here, but what can I write here?
A
A.
plus.
Not this is the minus version. Minus
2B.
2b. And then always double check. Is it right? The first one is squared, that is right. Minus 2 times the first one times the second one, it is really 4ab. And the second one squared is really 4b squared. But now I will also use idea that Omar has mentioned, but much simpler. You see what I do? I then replace a with what you said. I replace a with what? 2b plus 7 minus 2b, and then a squared. So I use your idea, but in a smarter way, so that it is faster. Now this 2b and that 2b are gone. This becomes 7 to power 2, 49, times that 5 is 245. So again, your idea was right. This is the hard way to implement your idea. This is the faster way to implement the same idea. Okay? But what I'm saying that this is extremely valuable for me if you could continue and come up with this answer, even this in harder way, because it means that you are making progress. Okay. Any questions? Okay, so now let us go to the next question. So Ismail and Hasbulat and anyone else that I didn't see could solve this A plus question. A plus question doesn't mean the algebra is complicated. It means the idea is novel. You need to discover the idea. Of course, some A-level questions are also algebraically hard. I don't disagree with that, but mainly the ideas should be discovered. So when the ideas are important, I think Carl Jung, I don't know if you know him, he is a very famous psychologist. He says that this is not people who have ideas, these are ideas who have people. Yes. So ideas, some people believe that ideas lives even without humans. Okay. So now try to solve this problem. So I know Ismail did that. I also know Hasbulat. Anyone else that I didn't see? Okay. The first thing is, don't let these things distract you. You write this, a squared plus ab, and write in a nice handwriting. That is also good. If you write it messy, you cannot understand it yourself. And then you have b squared. It doesn't matter if you want to write it below or if you have enough space, you write it there. That is up to you. But it is extremely important to write the necessary information in front of you, and then put what you want to answer. The answer that you want to find is a plus b. Yeah, there is nothing I can help you, but I can hear your ideas. And if your ideas are wrong, I can correct you. So you know that using these two pieces of information, I should be able to find a plus b. One possibility is that, okay, Babak, we have two unknowns and I have two pieces of information. I try to find a and b. When I found an a and b, I put them here. That is your answer. Yes, be my guess if you can do that. Okay, sometimes they make the problem a little bit hard that you cannot find a and b. Even though technically speaking, in principle, I should be able to find a and b. Why? Because a and b are two unknowns. How many pieces of information I have? Exactly 2. So in principle, the number of informations that I have available should be enough to find two unknowns. But technically, it is hard. So so some of you, I see some of the students try to find this A and B, but I will always advise you, okay, that is the last resort. But here, try to find an alternative way. I mean, if Hasbulat and Ismail could, in principle, you can also by thinking a little bit hard. Okay. I want to wait a little bit to see how it goes. Yeah. In principle, yes. You can work on it. Yes, if you want to not be bored, you can see that if you can find A and B. Might be the numbers are not that easy, but you can, I think. And by the way, it's extremely simple. I found it. Yes, but forget about it. So for example, Ismail and then Hasbullah, you can work on this problem to find A and B. Yes? Okay. You see, think in this way. Babak is giving us examples related to a squaring rule and conjugate rule. And factorization, probably. Okay? Unless I'm crazy, I'm giving you a question from another topic. If you understand that probably I'm not that crazy, so this means that this has to do something with these new lessons. So this is the first thing you need to think about. How can you connect these pieces of information to ones we had in our lesson? Any ideas? Yes, Lena?
You add them all together like
So, yes. Yeah. So I mean, if you see the pattern, it is so what Lennon is saying, he says that okay, it is a squared plus ab, and this one is what? B squared plus ab is equal to 9. Do you agree with me? This is a math 1C knowledge, or even before that. If this number is equal to this, and this number is equal to this, do you agree with me that this number plus this number is equal to what? Tell me, everyone, I want to be happy today. So if this number is 7 and this number is 9, what is this sum? What? What? Yes, I have to commit suicide. Yes. So I don't know. So 16. I am adding them, yes? So it becomes 16. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. So because if this number is 7 and this number is 9, when I add these two, in order to respect equality, I have to add these two as well. Is that right? But now, ask yourself, why Lennon was able and the other people were able to detect this pattern, you couldn't? Because that is the aha moment if you want to learn mathematics. So I don't know. I don't know what happened in their brain. I even cannot explain what happened in my own brain. You need to discover it yourself by being conscious and aware about the learning process. So everyone now hopefully can solve the problem. Why? Because I don't know. This becomes a squared. AB 1 here, 1 there. And this is the plus sign. So I don't need to be even worried about the plus sign. So what is the answer?
Plus 2ab.
Plus 2ab. And then what is left? B squared is equal to 60. That's it. And I hope that you remember this is a very famous pattern. If you don't, it means that you forgot the lesson before. But what is this number now? What is this expression? A plus b to the power of 2 is equal to what? 16. I am looking for what? A plus b. I don't know a plus b, but I know something. A plus b to power 2 is 16. So what is a plus b? Which is 4. But why do you think they have given, you know mathematicians doesn't talk too much. Why they have mentioned a and b are positive? Which part of it is necessary here? Yes, because I told you that from here you have plus minus. Yes? So this means that a plus b, the people who actually solve this one, be careful. I didn't see that in your solutions. So a plus b has two options, either 4 or minus 4. Yes? But because the problem is telling to me that a and b are positive, the sum cannot be negative. So you should write this and say this is not acceptable since a and b are positive. And this is the only answer. But let us change the problem. I say if a and b are negative numbers and the same thing, and I ask you a plus b, if you answer this one, it is wrong. Then you have to answer this one, because this one will be not acceptable then. So whenever you see information in the problem, they are useful. Otherwise, they don't tell it to you in mathematics. They have learned, mathematicians have learned to write exactly what is necessary. Okay? Not just saying something that if you find it useful, use it. Any questions here? Understandable or not? So I don't know. This is the way that you have to think in order to be able to solve problems. Okay, so one more. I think that's a good idea. Let us see how many of you can solve this one. By the way, let us solve this problem. Okay, here, Hasbullah asked, could you find A and B? Now, can you find A and B? I didn't know that this is a good question, but I see now that this is a good question. Yes, now, again, you have the chance to prove yourself again. So what is A, what is B? We know something. We know A plus B is 4. How many options are available? How many? You see, you don't answer this quickly. How many odd numbers can add to 4? A little bit more. Infinitely many.
2 point something.
Yes. Infinitely many pairs. Why? 1 and 3. 1.1 and 2.9. 1.2, 2.8. And with more decimal numbers. So there are infinitely many of them. Yes? Don't make this a small error, so okay? So okay. So what is the A and B individually? It is you have to be creative again, but it is possible. I didn't know it before. Hasbullah asked, I thought, and I realized yes, you can find A and B as well. So might be in the exam. If I want to make it A double plus, I can give you this and ask you what is A and B. So you see, this is why mathematics is so beautiful, because you can combine a lot of ideas in one problem. So how can I find A plus B? Sorry, A and B. It should be solved like this. Okay, so you don't listen. When you want to solve the problem, write the information again. I have this information, this piece of information, another piece of information, but now that I finished solving my problem, I also have an extra piece of information that might be useful. What's that extra piece of information that I have now? A plus B is also 4. Don't underestimate writing properly in front of your eyes. Have you seen these detective movies or something when they want to find the person who has committed the murder or something? They put all of these things in front of theirs and then they connect them together so that they can see it better. So it is very important in mathematics as well. Yes?
I don't know if it's right. It's an idea, but like we replace A with like 4 minus B, and then on the other side we replace B with the 4 minus A.
I think it should work, but let us say we have a much faster way to do it. If my idea does not work, then I have to use yours. But let us see if I can do it. You haven't still trained your eyes. So why couldn't you, Hasbullah? It's a matter of seconds. Look here. Again, I haven't asked you to factorize. But can you factorize?
Yes.
And it is useful suddenly here. I don't know why. It is useful. Yes? Because if I take A out, what happens? What happens? What happens?
A plus
A plus B is equal to 7. But A plus B is damn 4. Yes? So it is 4A. And what is A? A is 7 over 4, which you couldn't guess. So if A is 7 over 4, what is B then? B should be, you can use b from here with the same trick, but you also know that a plus b is supposed to be 4. Okay? So what is b? b is 4 minus what you got for a, yes? So it is 9 over 4. So it is 9 over 4. Or you could use this again using factorization. Yes, you can factor b this time. This becomes a plus b is equal to 9. But again, what is a plus b? 4. So you divide by 4, the same answer. Okay, so don't learn things in a very passive way. Okay? I am enjoying this more than you. Okay, so I deserve to know more than you. Yes? If you want to know more than me, you should be excited so much now. Okay? Try to be excited. Yes, you will learn and you will enjoy it. Okay. One more question. If we can solve it today, we will solve it. Otherwise, I will give you in the exam. Okay? Something similar. So this is a little bit A plus now. Okay? Not because it is hard. Because you have to be creative. So my question for you is this. X is a number. I don't know x, but I know something about this x. I know that x plus 1 over x is, say, 5. Okay? My question for you is, what is x to the power of 2 plus 1 over x to the power of 2? No, I'm kidding. It is just a plus again. That's the question. X is a number. I don't know what x is, but I know x plus 1 over x is 5. Okay? And my question is that if x plus 1 over x is 5, then x to the power of 2 plus 1 over x to the power of 2 is what? If you can solve it, like you see mathematics, if you can solve and defend your solution in your writing, I have to give you the points. But I also want you to be efficient. We haven't learned systematically, if you are looking for x, one possibility is to find x. In principle, it is possible. Why? Because x is how many unknowns? 1. And how many pieces of information you have regarding x? 1. So in principle, it should be possible I find x. But the method that you need to use to find x is the next lesson that we will study in Math 2C, not now. Okay? And even if you study that one, it is not efficient way. There is a better way to do this.
It's just a guess, but is it 25?
No. 25 in the realm of mathematics is a big crime. I have to put you in the jail. Because the people who don't know how to solve, they have to know 25 is wrong. Let me explain once for all. You have to be aware of your mistake. Because the people say that, okay, how did you come up with the answer? Do you agree? You just say this to power 2, yes? And then this is 25. And then you wrote this x squared plus 1 over x squared. And then you answered 25. So your idea was, to be honest, completely correct. Yeah. Because you don't believe what I say. There is no miracle in mathematics. Wrong is wrong forever. So I told you that a plus b to power 2 is not a squared plus b squared because you just learned a new version. But you're doing the same mistake again because now the letter a is not directly a, it is x. You think that this is not okay, this is not correct for a, but it might be correct for x. No, it is not. Okay? Okay, so I want to wait for you because actually Shah mentioned the correct way, but he messed up in technical problems, yes? Why couldn't you solve it? Because you told me the truth.
Yeah, I messed up there, but...
No, but you see, everyone understands, hopefully, as Shah understood correctly, that there should be something related to raising to power 2. This is more or less obvious, but you have to do it in correct way. So, you would say that x plus 1 over x is what? Is 5. You understand that raising to power 2, how many of you really understood that it has something to do with the squaring? Yes? Additive. Okay, that is enough. Because you realize there is power of 2 here, so it might be helpful if I square it. But why did he made a mistake? Because he didn't listen to the teacher. Okay, so you square it, it becomes what? If this one is 5, this one to power 2 is what? 25. But the reason he messed up, because he didn't listen to me and wrote x squared plus 1 over x squared. But this is not the rule. That is the whole Math 2C lesson. This is a squaring rule. Yes? So what is that? The squaring rule means what? Tell me. The first one squared, not the second one squared. What? What? 2 times the first one times the second one. It's always the case. This is good about mathematics. There are no exceptions. Yes? And then plus this one to power 2. Yes? This one is equal to 25. Yes? But now look, x squared is x squared. What is a better name of this? 1 over x squared. I put it next to it. But what is this? What is this one?
2.
2. Because whatever x is, I don't know x, but I don't need to know x. Because whatever this x is, the same x is here, they are cancelled. And then what is left? 2. And this is equal to 25. Yes? So what is the answer? 23. Because I am looking for this part. Yes? So x squared plus 1x squared. This is what is demanded. I move 2 to the other side. It becomes 23. So this number is 23. So your idea was right, but remember, don't make this mistake ever. This is the good point about mathematics. It's different from social science. In social science, being a, I don't know, left party has some benefits, being to the right party has some benefits. And I mean, but mathematics is always the same rule. Okay. Okay, so I just checked the attendance and we finished. Thank you.